Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a great day once more. Taking a look here at SUI, seeing what's going on. See if this is, we got some chop suey or not, right? We got a little bit of it, if you will. We're kind of in a bit of a range here so far, where the price action keeps topping out at 342 and a tentative bottom about 320. We have talked about 320 being somewhat of a support range along with that 327, the previous high. So we're going to discuss not just that, but this ascending trend, the overall sentiment of what's going on. We're going to compare this with Bitcoin too and just kind of see what the price action is looking like and just how well it's responding, because this is a pretty good situation for this coin. We are definitely looking like further upside is likely, but we want to double check a few things too, just make sure we're not being completely naive. But more important, just respecting specific areas of retracement. Okay, so when we talk about areas of retracement, we want to recognize, well, liquidation levels too. So first and foremost, let's quickly recognize the back-end data here, 240 to 280, tons of liquidation out there. But those are just a lot of longs that are heavy in profit. Okay, why they haven't closed out their trades or secured profits is beyond me, but I totally get the whole concept of moving higher. And the likelihood of it is pretty high too. It's just that a responsible trader will secure profits on the way up if you're using leverage. Now, if you have a spot bag in the $2 range, congrats, that's awesome, you're doing it right. But if you're in a long position from $1 or $2 range and you're in a high leverage trade, you're going to be getting eaten up on fees if the price ends up going range bound, and it's just not always the best call. So just throwing it out there, that's kind of the concept. I like to kind of reiterate best practice and ensure that you understand how things should work. It's up to you if you want to take that knowledge. I just get a lot of community members coming over to our community, which we've had a lot in the last couple of weeks. And most of them have gotten destroyed by other communities, and or just in general, they're just being irresponsibly trained, if you will. Okay, because again, trading cryptocurrency or any currency, even traditional markets, high leverage is just not even a thing you should consider, right? It's just ridiculous. So just keep your leverage low, and I think you're going to have much more success. Either way, 355 to basically $4. We have a lot of liquidation here, basically a lot of shorts in the market. I'm curious to see what the liquidation delta looks like here shortly. We'll look at that next. But important thing to recognize is that we could very well see a spike up to the $4 range in the relative near future just based on liquidation alone. And also good momentum. So keep in mind, we're definitely on the edge of some pretty cool stuff here. So we take a look at our delta here. We can see liquidation longs and shorts pretty much smack dab in the middle. So we got just as many longs as we do shorts at the moment for SUI. That tells us we're kind of reaching an impasse, right? Is the price going to go higher? Is it going to pull back? I think a lot of it hinges on Bitcoin. And what we want to look at next is the correlation between Bitcoin and SUI and kind of recognize kind of what that looks like. And we do take a look here. We can see the most amount of open interest, about 316. Secondary to that would be 308, and then of course tertiary is 340. So anything in the $3 to 340 range is essentially in profit and a good consideration for long. So things are looking pretty good there. Let's double check. We'll look at Bitcoin and SUI's price action on the smaller time frames. Let's start with the daily first, though. Recognize that again, fair value gap 238 to 265. So heaven forbid we lose our 0.618 fib level at 290. We could really see that as a possible reality. You got to recognize the wicks are pretty aggressive here for this coin. So while the coin is still bullish, still looking good, you can't discount the fact that we could still see a pullback to those ranges, because those are just natural areas of retracement. Future reference too, if you're not familiar, Bitcoin does have a CME gap, pretty sizable, between 78 and 80.5K. So just know that that's there. If Bitcoin runs to that level, SUI could run to its current fair value gap. So just be aware of that. So daily time frame, let's recap here. Everything's truly bullish. There's no reason to consider, at this point from a longer term hold perspective, don't even close your position. You're still good to go. Green light for the price to go higher. Just please understand, Bitcoin is kind of, it's trying to define itself right now. It's ranging between 87 and 91K. Until it breaks free from that range, we're going to probably see a lot of shenanigans. If it stays in that range, though, keep that in mind. This coin SUI will probably increase further from here. A lot of the reasons why is because money flow index is still very high. Okay, so those are positive here. So the daily time frame looks awesome. Keep in mind, most coins look pretty awesome on the daily time frame right now too. It's just that massive overextension kind of fudging the numbers, so to speak. You can see the truth here though in the 4-hour time frames and the hourly. So let's talk about that. Unlike other coins, we're still above 50 on the RSI. This is good. As the RSI tapers off, the price goes sideways. That's somewhat of a bullish convergence. Because again, when the price is looking like it's trying to retest its high, which it keeps doing, it keeps retesting that upper range, and the RSI is cooling off, that just means that over time, people are starting to feel like this is a better value. And that's why the RSI is such an important tool, is to recognize kind of like, hey, people think that this is a good coin to invest in. We're still on the right side of tracks, but yet the price keeps retesting a resistance level. Well, what happens when you keep trying to kick a door down? It eventually breaks, right? That's kind of what's happening right now. We got this pretty solid resistance range here at about 342. Once that's broken, I think there's a decent chance we're going to see the price continue to run. So let's go ahead and take a look here at the hourly and kind of confirm, see where we're at in the cloud. This indicator is really good about trend reversals and letting us know kind of where we're at. While you can have some false positives, for the most part, when you're still above the cloud or within the cloud, the general consensus is that you're bullish, right? We are technically in the upper range here, essentially above the cloud. So it confirms that further upside makes more sense. However, we got the lagging span kind of intersecting with the price action when things go range bound. This kind of gives us some false positives, letting us know, hey, we're on the right side of tracks, but we want to wait for the breakout. In other words, the reason why that's helpful is once this breaks above, then we'd be breaking free from our range, and then we'd want to take a trade confidently at that point. Okay, so the truth is, taking along right now is premature. However, taking along at 342 makes a lot more sense because the simple fact that we've broken free from that range. So what we're going to be looking for, ultimately, this is what I look for, is for the price action to break free from the range, consolidate above, just basically closing above that previous high and establishing it as a new low. That is a prime entry for a long. Okay, and I know, you're probably rolling your eyes thinking, why the hell is now not a good time? Well, the truth is we don't have a lot of confirming factors. The price is going to break out. Bitcoin's giving us a lot of false positives, implying it wants to go down lower. If that happens, SUI could pull back too. So that brings us to comparing these two coins. So let's do that here really quick, just to give you perspective on what's going on. So if you can see here, this is SUI's price action in the last, maybe 2 trading days. Okay. If we look at Bitcoin, we can see it's coming over, it's pulling down, essentially establishing lower highs and lower lows. Okay. SUI is kind of all over the place. It's establishing higher highs here, lower lows here. So the truth is, anytime Bitcoin pulls back, we can see SUI kind of giving a pretty significant correction, but it's also increasing pretty strong too when Bitcoin does. So it's an interesting way that this coin behaves. It doesn't behave naturally because there's a lot of like FOMO and just like there's these things when when SUI comes down, it goes up really fast and recovers quickly. That's why you don't want to short that coin, mainly because people feel like they're going to miss out on the gravy train, so to speak, and they want to get in. So the truth is, I think it's probably best to wait for the price action to break above this key level resistance at 342. Once again, it's just like a 4-hour obvious resistance range for us. That would make more sense. And I would also say too, because this is what I'm waiting for, me personally, is to wait for Bitcoin to close above 90,000. Okay, if it closes above 90,000, then that would invalidate this descending trend. That could invalidate some short positions, and it may imply the price is more likely to go higher because this is somewhat of a key level for us. It's basically 89,700, but 89.7, 90K. Either way, if you close above that for today on Bitcoin, that would be a pretty solid push into the weekend. Just keep in mind, trading Bitcoin over the weekend can also be very tumultuous and weird because volume starts to dry up. You see these sporadic little increases and decreases. I've honestly disliked trading in general on weekends, period. That's just my thing. I usually try to avoid it at all costs. And however, the last 3 or 4 weekends, Bitcoin has been misbehaving on weekends a lot. It's been really weird. So I just recommend not trading at all on the weekends, but it's just me personally. I like to omit risk, right? Anyways, I'll post a playout chart on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord here shortly. Give you perspective on what my thoughts are here, but the overall sentiment is still up. SUI is looking very strong. I just think that we want to make sure that we're breaking free from this tentative range before we take a long into it. Breakout traders are not very successful in general. While they're finding a little bit more success in the last week since the Trump got elected, and the market's been fairly bullish, we can't just blindly take longs anymore. Okay, we're hitting that potential, like that shift in momentum, specifically with Bitcoin, and that correlates to a lot of altcoins. All right. Anyways, Twitter, Telegram, Discord, check it out. We've got playout charts and all the whole 9 yards there for you. Make sure you also recognize Progressive Prize Pool, 60K prize pool amongst the top 20 traders on Bitunix exchange this month here. They're going to have consistent trading competitions and or bonuses, so just make sure you check them out. They've been phenomenal to our community. Thank you as well for the awesome feedback from our newer members. We've got a good dozen or two new community members here in the group. So welcome aboard. I look forward to work with you. Have a good rest of your day, folks. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.